Welcome to the Future Film Podcast.
This week we're talking about our favorites. Again, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Future Film Podcast, guys. I'm Kyler.
I'm Michael.
And this week we're talking about our favorites. Again, the first one I did with Ethan, and now I'm doing one with Michael, and I'm sure Michael will do one with Ethan at some point without me. So I wanted to clue y'all in on kind of how we spend our time, outside of the podcast. And me, Mike, and Ethan have a group chat on GroupMe where we toss around ideas and we do all kinds of stupid stuff as well as planning. And one time we were planning for a pod, and I can't remember which one it was. Do you remember which one it was?
It was the one just before the General, which we're about to release.
Okay, so Shawshank.
Shawshank, yes. It was for Shawshank.
We were talking about Shawshank, and you know what? No, we weren't.
Was it before that?
We were talking about the General because...
Oh, okay. It was after that then.
It was right after that because I asked what kind of pizza y'all wanted.
That's
you
right.
all came over
That's
and
right.
watched it with me. And, I said I usually get pineapple and ham, the Hawaiian pizza from Mr. Jim's. And I put a poll out on GroupMe asking, I don't even remember what the poll was, but just basically, do you like it or do people deserve to burn for it? And I lost, unfortunately.
2-1.
2-1. They hate pineapple pizza. And a few days later, Mike sent a meme to the group, and on top it says social distancing guidelines. And you see 4 people, two on the left and 2 on the right. The people on the bottom, though, are significantly more spaced out. And the people on the top say, COVID-19, 6 feet. The one below that says, people that put pineapple on pizza, 100 meters. And I immediately texted back, I really hate you. Gosh, it was just, I got double teamed. It wasn't fair.
I'll try to get Kyler to incorporate that into our poster for this podcast.
Just a big piece of pizza.
With that meme on it.
But speaking of pineapples and all things tropical, my movie for this week that I'm bringing, my favorite, is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I have a few reasons for it, and they are as follows. 1, Jack Sparrow's freaking hilarious. Like we talked about in the General, I don't know how he does it. He just walks around and it's like everything good just happens to him. And I don't know if he's a man with a plan or if he just makes it up as he goes, but it's hilarious to watch it all happen.
So, top 3 actors for me currently: Johnny Depp, Jim Carrey, and RDJ.
That's a good list.
Not in that order. If I had to rank them, but those are definitely top 3s right there.
That's definitely a good list for sure. I've definitely liked Jim Carrey more recently, but I digress. A couple other reasons I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the adventure of it. Jack in the movie, he talks about how the Black Pearl is freedom. It's not just a ship. It's a symbol of freedom, and I can feel that through the way they shot the movie, the way they edited the movie, all the costumes, all the locations. They did a good job. And speaking of locations, I think the locations make the movie.
I agreed wholeheartedly.
I think that they are just as much a character as any of the actual actors.
Mm-hmm.
Tortuga is just, you want to go there. No matter how much of, a den of iniquity it is, you love it because it seems weirdly fun.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's another reason. I think that the music is beautiful.
Yes.
Gosh.
A lot of hits came out of that movie. Like Tortuga.
Yeah.
They made that one. was it, is it Like a Pirate or something like that?
He's a pirate.
He's a Pirate. There we go. He's a
Yes.
Pirate. Those are great.
Klaus Badelt, or if I'm butchering that name, I'm sorry, but he did a wonderful job coming up with the initial themes. What's really interesting is that the next movies were actually composed, scored by Hans Zimmer, who did Batman and Inception and all those good movies.
Very fitting.
Yeah, he did a wonderful job keeping true to the themes that Klaus started, and then evolving them as well. In fact, the famous theme for Jack, bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, ba-dum da-dum. That didn't come out till the second movie. At least I don't think it did.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And so I think while Hans Zimmer did a great job growing the themes, Klaus doesn't get enough credit. But those are my reasons I love Pirates of the Caribbean. Mike, what's your movie?
So prior to tonight, I was originally going to choose Sherlock Holmes, both first and second with RDJ, but in a turn of it,
Jr., right?
Yes. In a turn of events, I had done some soul searching and realized that my favorite movie is Keanu Reeves' Constantine.
Now, I've never heard of this movie, or scratch that. I've heard of it. I think I've seen one DVD cover in Blockbuster when I was a kid, but I don't know anything about this movie.
So, I know I just said that it's my favorite movie. Sadly, I just bought my first copy of it. I know that sounds so arbitrary, but I've seen it. Oh Lord, I don't know how many times. It's really that good of a movie in my opinion. It's got a really good storyline. It's I guess it's a cliche storyline, but I think Keanu Reeves is what makes it so good. It's the damsel in distress.
Guy gets girl.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that a big part of it is because it's a lot of biblical references. Because I think his name. Funny enough, I think his name is John Constantine.
That's interesting.
I forgive me if I completely just had a
brain fart.
Yeah, on that one. But I'm pretty sure his name's John Constantine in that one. So he's a self-employed demon exorciser. And when I say self-employed, I believe he's with an organization, but he really does his own thing. He gets his equipment, if you will, from his little supplier. I like to call him his demon dealer. I know that's a funny play on words there, but so all of his equipment, the holy water and let's see here, they've got grenades of holy water. He's got this gun that it's almost like it's made of gold, and it comes into the point of where the barrel has a cross going through it, so it looks like if you hold it in just the right angle, it's a cross gun. So
that's interesting.
Yes, to say the least.
Kind of cool. Is this a horror movie?
So I have never really looked at, I guess, IMDb's genre classification, but if I was to classify it, it's a thriller on the verge of a horror, but it's not horror quite. Okay. It does have a lot of I think what a lot of people would consider horror, but I think I'm so obsessed with horror films that it doesn't quite meet that standard for me. Okay. I guess if the people that classify going to hell and getting chased by these unspeakable demons that they have half of heads and their eyes are sunken into their skull, and they walk on all fours, and they're in this wasteland. This is a very specific scene that I'm talking about, and for those of you all that have seen this movie and know the scene that I'm talking about, y'all know exactly how creepy and honestly well put together that scene is. It's a lot of CGI, but producer, director did an amazing job with that film, and especially that scene. And like I mentioned earlier, it's got a lot of biblical ties and stuff that relates to specific cultures. That's what I enjoy a lot of. So like Kyler and I were speaking about earlier, I just got done watching the movie 300, and I am heavily into the Greek culture. I love everything that the Spartans are about. That speaks heroism.
Spartans aren't Greek.
Okay, yes. So
that's my history minor coming through.
Yeah, so
but they are, I mean, they're closely associated.
They're, how do I say this? They are, you know what? Actually, let's look that up real quick.
Okay.
All right,
Bet
so
you're wrong.
All right, so I just arrived at, it's called the Ancient History Encyclopedia, and it's .eu, so as you know, it's a credible website.
I just Googled it.
And it says that Sparta was one of the most important Greek city-states through the Archaic and Classical periods.
I looked up what ethnicity were Spartans, and they said ancient Greek. Well, I'm a bad history minor. Sorry, don't listen to me.
Well, I'm glad we clarified that one up. Greek mythology is really where I was going with this.
We digress.
Yeah. So, back to our main point here with Constantine. It is a great movie overall. There are definitely the ups and downs in that movie, just like every other movie. But it is, I think the main reason it is my favorite movie is just because, just like in John Wick, Keanu Reeves, once again, is the baddest man alive.
Okay, since you brought up John Wick, we need to talk about John Wick. Okay, so for everyone listening, me and Mike had a little bit of a conversation. We had the start of a conversation earlier tonight, and I stopped him before I stopped myself before I got too far gone into it, because I was like, stop, shut up, we need to save this for the podcast. We need to save it for the podcast. And we started talking about John Wick, the first one, and his opinion of it was that it was really freaking good. And my opinion of it was not that good. And I want to talk about why we have these opinions. I'll go first, just for ease, of speaking. I don't think it's that strong of a story. Sure, he's a total BA, with all his skills that he has, but his wife died, and he was emotionally distraught, understandably. But then when who you find out is the bad guy comes and steals his car, and John tries to stop them, they kill his dog. And that's what sends him on a rampage. For 2 hours, he kills people because they broke his dog's back. Which, I mean, that's awful. I would hate to have my dog's back snapped in half. But, that's not a strong story point, man.
That was very explicit.
If anything, kill the wife on screen. That at least gives you a reason to go after people.
So, this is where we started having the quote-unquote disagreement. I believe that dog represent more than just a dog. And, I mean, obviously any film enthusiast is going to see that dog wasn't just, a dog. That was, I believe...
You insult me, sir.
I believe that his wife left that for him. It came about somehow to where she died, and then boom, there's a dog at his doorstep because she ordered it for him, or I can't remember the specifics. It's been a while
since. She wanted him to have some kind of companionship.
Mm-hmm. So with that dog, it resembles. I think it resembles her more than anything else, and I think that like you just said, murder her on screen. They did murder her on screen, just not her person, her representation, what she was represented as.
Her memory.
Yes. So what they did was they came in and they crushed that memory of her, and that is what I believe sent him on that rampage. Versus, it's just a dog.
I don't care.
I knew you were gonna say
I
that.
don't care. It's stupid.
Oh Lord.
I understand symbolism. That's a weak thing to symbolize. I was watching Batman today, and whenever Batman falls in the Dark Knight, whenever he falls and ends up on the ground next to Harvey Dent, and you see Gotham's White Knight and Gotham's Dark Knight next to each other, that's symbolic.
Yeah, I agree that they could have gone further with their symbolism in that movie. I very much do. And, if I had the option of going back and rewriting that specific scene, I would make it to where there's something else that made him go on that specific rampage of, you've taken everything from me, literally. Now it's time for me to, get back in the game. So, I agree with you that the representation could have been a whole lot different.
And I mean, I think that is kind of cool, your point about it being her memory, or the memory of her and the representation of her. I think that's cool. I mean, I never thought that deeply about it because I was kind of sitting there, jaw wide open at the screen thinking, he's going on a rampage because of a dog? Now, if I had taken some time and thought about it and reached that conclusion, sure, I can see why that's, sending him on a rampage. Now, I want to talk about how the rampage concludes. Because he goes on a 2-hour rampage, like we've said, and after this dude who broke his dog's back. Now, he searches the city, the world for this guy. I don't know if it actually is the world. It's been a while since I've seen it, but at least a city for this Russian kid.
Yeah, the one person that did that.
And the action's awesome. Like, it's great.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say Michael Bay made this movie.
There'd need to be more explosions.
Oh yeah,
way more explosions.
Yeah, it's definitely not a Michael Bay movie, but it's Michael Bay-esque.
Fair. It's definitely in the vein of like Matrix and
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, yeah, exactly.
I guess I should say it's Keanu Reeves-esque.
Yeah, really. But I hated how the bad guy was killed. Because you're searching this whole time for this one guy, and he has eluded you.
So when you say the bad guy, do you mean the guy that killed the dog, or do you mean the ultimate bad guy, which is the father of that son?
Okay, that's fair. I mean the guy who killed the dog, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. No matter what is set up after that or whatever else has to happen with the father, the goal is the kid.
There should have been more payoff. I completely agree with that.
Because he's running around the whole city, killing so many people and breaking people's arms and faces.
Literally.
And yeah, seriously. And then the kid gets killed in this warehouse. It's ridiculous. Like, John sets up as a sniper, takes out all of his guards as a sniper, grabs a submachine gun, runs into the warehouse, and you see this kid's running for his life. And I kind of remember that it was in slow motion, but I don't really know if that's right. But it just really bugged me because it's like this kid's running. John finally gets the upper hand after 2 hours. Why couldn't have this happened sooner if he just comes up behind him and shoots him 3 times in the back?
Yeah, if John Wick is the professional that he says he is, it would have been a lot quicker. I agree with that.
I mean, he's certainly a professional.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, what? I don't know. Maybe he needed to be standing at the edge of a building.
Something.
There needed to be something there. And I was really let down by that. I want to hear all you listeners' opinions too, because I might be wrong. I don't know. But what do you think, Mike?
Okay, so going from here, how would you like me? What do you want me to lead on to from here? You said how. What do you think, Mike? So
just kind of like, what do you think about what I just said about the payoff in the end.
Okay.
And
then I wanted to add. I want to clarify something. So, how we said that, like, Spartans aren't Greek. I don't know, something in my brain just, it needs to know. So what is, and I want to clarify it on here. What are Spartans? Like, what race? I guess, because when I look
Spartan.
So yeah,
from Sparta.
Yes, from Sparta. But and it says that okay, so this is very internet-ish. It says that modern Spartans are modern Greek people. So that kind of didn't make too much sense to me.
Sparta was a prominent city-state in ancient Greece. In antiquity, the city-state was also known as...
So they were Greek. In a way, they were Greek.
Well, they were a city-state. Yeah.
So they are Greek. So... Okay, so I thought...
They're Peloponnesian. What ethnicity were the Spartans? Ancient Greek. Okay, so I'm wrong.
Okay, so when we get back into that, I want to clarify, because I'll make sure that I looked it up on my phone. I'll make sure to say that. But I was like, if they weren't Greek, then they wouldn't have been in God of War, because that was all Greek mythology.
Okay,
and
so let's do this. I want you to tack onto the thought about the ending of John Wick.
Okay, yes.
And then we could even close out the show and then just record like something to edit in later.
Yeah, well,
that hopefully will work.
Let's listen back to what we were saying so that we know how to. Yeah. Okay. So,
cool.
Say, what do you think about it, Mike?
What do you think about it, Mike?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about the payoff should have been a whole lot different, a whole lot better. He is clearly a professional, like how we've stated several times. He is very clearly a professional, so I think that living in this movie, he should have clipped that guy a long time ago, and in a much more deserving manner versus, like you said, just submachine gun going crazy in a warehouse. That's not John Wick style, in my opinion. He is very much guns a-blazing, but when it comes to something that serious, he's more methodical about how he approaches his assassinations.
Well, I actually just kind of had this thought, and with this thought, I'm actually kind of recounting what I just fought for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hear me out. This kid, and we keep referring to him as a kid,
yeah,
was shot down in a very non-glorious fashion,
mm-hmm.
kind of sloppy for John's standards.
Yes,
you would imagine. It just didn't seem fitting for him to be the bad guy and then get killed in some really stupid-looking way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you did bring up a point, whether... I don't know. I don't remember when you brought this up, but you had said something to me some other time about the father being the true bad guy.
Okay, yeah, so the ultimate bad guy in that movie. The ultimate
bad guy.
And he...
Yeah.
Actually, I think from the start of the movie, he was like the ultimate bad guy. He just wasn't John Wick's ultimate bad guy. He's like the
man behind the curtain.
Exactly. And then by John Wick hunting his son, John Wick reveals that curtain and shows that there's a bigger picture there.
Now, going off of that idea, I think that maybe there's a little bit more symbolism in how they edited it together in the end.
Yes.
Of this kid gets shot down in a, very undignified manner,
mm-hmm.
not a glorious ending that you would desire to see from John,
mm-hmm.
But then later, a few minutes later in the film, you see this really awesome fight between John and the kid's father,
mm-hmm.
who is the ultimate bad guy. And maybe they're trying to say something with that, and maybe I'm reading way too much into this. But I mean, it's an idea, right?
That's what film enthusiasts are for.
I mean, maybe really what they're trying to say is that this kid was small potatoes,
mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
that the father's the real bad guy, and that's why they gave him such different fights to the death.
Yeah.
Ending fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah, John Wick and the father, obviously, I mean, if you know what a film is. He had the better fight, the better. I think he had the longer death scene, if you will.
Can't even remember. Did he die? The father?
Yeah, because they were.
Remember.
I think he was just about to get away on his helicopter, or something of that sort, and John Wick got to him before he could do that, and they had like the final shootout on the helicopter pad. And if it wasn't on helicopter pad, it was
it was a helicopter.
Okay, then it was there. Okay.
I didn't actually remember if the guy died or not, but you're right. That's interesting. So because this one's just a favorites episode, we're not going to do an end credit scene. Sorry, have to wait for the next pod about an actual movie that we go in depth for. But yeah, Mike, you want to wrap it up?
For sure. This has been the Future Film Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Kyler. Roll credits. Welcome to the salut, comment ça va?
Demon Exorciser. He has his.
Let's redo that.
Yeah, let's do that one again. Okay.
That's my wife in the next room playing Smash Brothers.
Bloopers reel.
Oh. Well, want to wrap it up?
What's the line? Line.